Welcome to week 2, the rolling video. So I am starting in this kneeling position because when we do our shapes and stretches, we're going to work on child's pose, which comes out of this position too. And the rolling video this week is focused on your quadriceps. And so your quadriceps are these big leg muscles in the front here. And so I'm sitting in this position to kind of connect the shapes and the rolling together so you can actually see how these things fit together. So because this position is honestly really challenging for many of us to get to, and so I'm using my roller to support me in this position, so again that kind of lets me kind of move back and forth between the two things, and B, in this position you can kind of see how to effectively hold this position. It requires some flexibility in the quadriceps. Okay, so that's just an idea of how these two positions are related. So a roller, and again, I want you guys to be really careful and intentional with the roller that you select. I am a big fan of the Trigger Point brand because I feel like they put a lot of time into the softness of the foam on the outside, which is really, really important. It's important for its ability to kind of stick to your skin sometimes. It's important for its ability to have some give. The idea behind this roller is that it mimics the feeling of your muscle. So imagine your muscle, the center of your muscle is hard, it's bone, and then between the bone and your skin is the muscle, which is mostly water, right? And so it should have some pliability to it. And so this feeling, this action is what we're using as we're rolling to get deeper into the muscle. Okay, so the setup of the quadricep looks like this. It is important to have a mat for the quadricep because one of your knees is going to be kind of open and exposed, like the inside of the knee is going to be exposed, and so you want to have some cushioning on there to kind of support that. Having said that, you're going to set up by starting on one leg and really close to the hip flexor, okay, on this leg over here, and you can see this leg is open and out to the side, and so this is the best position to get into the quadricep for the rolling principles. And so from here, really what you want to be able to do is just really drop your weight into it, all of your weight, or sometimes lift your upper body and press yourself into the roller. So that's step number 1 that you're going to do. Okay, and so we're going to follow our rolling principle. So principle number 1 is that rolling is a slow process, and you've got to relax into it. You've got to give the roller time to release itself into your muscles, and you've got to give your body time to get used to what the rolling feels like. So maybe you guys could focus on the connection point between the roller and your body, so you guys can see where the pressure is, because this is the leg that I'm working over here. Okay, and so I am at this point really just focusing on relaxing through my thoracic spine, so as much of my hip weight drops into the roller as possible. I got to keep dropping my hip weight into the roller, okay? And then I'm slowly moving forward and back. So remember the rule of thirds. There's 3 lines along our quadricep that we're going to work. So imagine your quadricep, and you're going to work the inside line, you're going to work the middle line, and then you're going to work the outside line. So right now I'm right at the top of the hip, and when my foot is rolled open like this, I'm kind of rolling the top of the inside line. Each line feels a little bit different in terms of where it connects to your hip. So this inside line will really go deep into the inner side of your pelvis. So this is going to be the deeper muscles in your legs. So keep in mind that the quadricep as a muscle, it does cross the hip. It kind of does so by going in and through and connecting in my spine. So it's a really important muscle for flexion of the hip, and it is impacted when you flex the knee. Okay, so I've been rolling, and this is about the pace I want you guys to go. I want you to go really, really slow, because this is a very, very large muscle, and so you've got to spend a lot of time on it if you want to get inside deep of where it is. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to cover the whole thing in the 10-minute video, so I'm going to try to highlight how I want you guys to do. So I have not moved off the inside line, but before I move off the inside line, so you've seen me going back and forth, and I'm in that same spot. I'm feeling for hot spots. I'm feeling for trigger points. So I can feel at this point that it's starting to relax a little bit. I'm getting a little deeper into it. So before I move to the next line, because I think I'm going to move across before I go down, I'm going to show you guys your flexing technique. So an important technique for the quad is to be able to bend the knee and still do into the roll. Okay, so as you bend this knee, you totally change what the quadricep is doing next to the bone. And that's really, really important, because the range on this quadricep, the range of softness you want to feel, you want to know it when the knee is bent and also when the leg is straight. And so just remember that as you do all of your muscles. So here I am staying close to the top of the hip, and I'm going to shift to the middle line. So you can tell where I am based on the shape of your foot. Inside line, middle line, and then I would have to roll all the way to get to the outside line. So my leg being straight down, I'm going to roll down the middle line this time. Now the middle line, you will feel a lot of the quadricep muscles, because they all basically run across the top. All four of them will cross this at this area. So when I'm up close to the hip, I'm really in like the tendon part of it. I'll show you that in the diagram of the in the lecture this week. But then the meat of the muscle in the middle, that's where you're gonna feel all the good stuff. Now, depending on how much you use your quadricep, how tight it is already, that will definitely determine the amount of tension or release you feel in here. Even if you don't feel anything in this, I would like you to assume that there's stuff in there that you need to remove, because the quadricep is one of the most utilized muscles in the body. Like, its responsibility is to help you not fall forward onto your face when you're walking. So it literally has to catch all of your weight. If you walk at all, your quadricep takes a lot of work. If you run, your quadricep takes even more. So just remember, spend lots of time. It will probably take you at least 10 minutes to get through just one quadricep, and that is totally okay. That's why we sequence it over time. So after me being in this middle spot now for like 2 or 3 minutes now, I'm finally starting to feel like I'm getting deeper into the layers. So once I get deeper into that layer, that's when I can add this knee bend. And that's going to be a really big part of it. Let me add one more part. So outside the knee bend now, I'm going to reach and grab this leg, and I'm going to add this, turn this into a stretch as well. So I'm going to get the full length out of this quadricep, and then add more rolling techniques into it. So when it feels tight, breathe. All sensations are to be breathed into. The more you breathe into your sensations, the more they will travel, the more they will change, the more you will elongate. There's a difference between pain and a sensation, and you need to recognize the difference. Like, pain is a step before you're getting hurt. A sensation is a part of the journey on the path. Okay, and so sit with it before you do anything, so you can have a full understanding of whether or not what you're experiencing is pain or a sensation. So that's honestly, I only rolled like this part of that quadricep, and yeah, I can feel the difference between the two sides already. So the quadricep does take time. It is something that has to happen in layers, because they are really big muscles, and there are muscles underneath them that you need to get to. So spend a lot of time, a lot of breathing, add your bending techniques, enjoy the sensations that are the quadricep rolling. I'll see you guys next week.